אשת חיל מאמצע, ורחוק מפנינים מכרה, בטח בלב בעלה, ושלל לא אחסר, גמלת הוא טוב ולא רע, כל ימי חייך. פיך פוחמה וחוכמה, ותורת חסד על לשונה, צופיה הליכוד ביתה, ולחם עצלות לא תאכל, כמובנך ויבשרוה, בעלה ויחללה, רבות בנות עשו חיל, והטלית על כולנה.
A woman of valor, who can find? She's more precious than fine pearls. Her husband trusts in her, and so he lacks nothing. She does him good, never harm, all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends her hand to the poor. She's clothed in strength and dignity, and she faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom. The law of kindness is on her lips. Her children rise up and bless her. Her family sings her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you excel them all. We gather together today as the dear family and friends of Sophie Zaslavsky. As we mourn her loss, must also celebrate the full, rich life she led. Death has taken our beloved. Friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow may they find the presence of loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For her love that united us in life and which death cannot sever. For her companionship which we shared along life's path and which still continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and her mind, which brought us joy and happiness, and now become a precious heritage of the Spirit. For all these and more, God, we give you our praise. In his sorrow, Job cried out, Adonai Natan, B'nai Lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevarach. God has given, God has taken away. Blessed be the name of God. An ancient people, we are well acquainted with grief and with the valley of shadows. Death and sorrow are not strangers to us. Yet the centuries have taught us that a good name endures beyond the grave, and there is strength in faith. With Job we say, Adonai Natan, God you have given. You gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten. For always good and enduring in her life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. A poem by Kathy Zink. Take time to talk, for you may ask of all things unknown to you. Take time to laugh, for smiles relinquish sorrow and spread happiness. Take time to think, for the realm of knowledge is never ending. Take time to see, for there is beauty in every part of the world around you. Take time to feel, for the emotions of your heart often control the reasoning of your mind. Take time to live, for each day is filled with new opportunities that will be gone tomorrow. Take time to dream, for survival is forever challenging the powers of your imagination. Take time to love, for the sharing of all these things is the true miracle of life. She's achieved success who has lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who has gained the respect of intelligent men and the love of little children, who has filled her niche and accomplished her task, was left the world better than she found it, whether by an improved poppy, a perfect poem, or a rescued soul, was never lacked appreciation of earth's beauty or failed to express it, was always looked for the best in others and given the best she had, whose life was an inspiration, whose memory a benediction. Amen. Psalm 23. Adonai ro'i lo exar, bina desha yar bitseni, amei menachot yanachaleni. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters, and restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen. The Baal Shem Tov, the Hasidic Rebbe, once observed that there are 3 ways to mourn. The first is with tears, the second is with silence, and the third is with song. When we mourn someone truly beloved, we experience all 3. Tears at first, then silence as our grief settles more deeply, and finally song as we're able to celebrate the memories we hold deep in our hearts. So this is a time for tears as we say our final goodbyes to Sophia. We remember her in your own way. Boris and Sophia and Olga, you'll all remember Sophia as your beloved mother. Terry and Jeremy, Alex and Benjamin, you'll all remember Sophia as a devoted grandmother. And Ariel and Isabel remember Sophia as their adoring great-grandmother. Sophia was a loving sister to Yefim and Yevgenia and a dear aunt to Alex. Sophia was born on June 22, 1933, in Odessa to Moshe and Bunya Friedman. When World War II began, Sophia's father went off to fight, and her mother's plant, all of the families and all of the machinery were relocated to Siberia to produce shells for artillery for the war. Sophia attended school in Siberia. Yefim remembers his sister as a beautiful young girl at that time, and I'd like to now call on Yefim to talk about this period in his sister's life.
Well, she was very strong, and I will try to do the same. She had a very hard life. It started in young age. On June 21st, 1941, my parents were preparing the birthday party for her for the next day, but it was cancelled because the war started. How you know. Like Rabbi said, we went to Siberia, and because I was 2.5, 3 years old, and they didn't have a kindergarten. I was at home. My mother was 3-4 days straight in the military plant. They produced shells for artillery, and during the summertime, school children went, they took them to day camp. We lived maybe on a piece of bread, a size like this, a day. But in day camp for children, they used to give them something to eat, extra than the rest of the people. And she was able to save something from minimum what they gave to them, and she used to bring it to me. And I did not understand at that time the sacrifice what she made. She went through much harder lives than myself, because sometimes in 1943 my mother was arrested. She worked in quality control, and she put her stamp on each and every shell. And one day, the shell was exploded and killed Soviet soldiers. And she was under investigation for a week or something like that. And I will remember the name of manager, a director of military plant, a Russian man by the name of General Rybnikov. He told those investigators, it was SMERSH, but abbreviation for death to spies. He used to tell him, he tried to convince them, but she could not do it for 3 reasons. First of all, her husband at war. The second reason, she has 2 small children. And the third reason, she is Jewish. It cannot be. Somehow they found out the guilty party, and she was released. They gave her a medal. But I did not understand everything what's going on at that time. I was like maybe 5 years old or less. But she was 5.5 years older than myself. She knew everything was going on. And she kept herself like a little hero, by the age. And she kept me safe. I did not comprehend what was going on. Well, in 1946, our father came back, he came to Siberia. We were in Siberia, and took us back to Odessa. She went to school, she continued. Then she went to a technical school, technicum, railroad, and after graduation, she was sent to be in the railroad depot where they fixed the trucks, railroad trucks, and she was a foreman. And the guy who used to work there, they were very tough. Some of them were maybe 3 times older than she. She was 19 years old. They were swearing like, you know what. But very shortly, they became so polite, because in her presence, nobody had said a bad word. Then she graduated from University Railroad, and she worked in headquarters of railroad division. Always she had a sharp mind, very clear, good memory. And when she was 78, she had a very bad surgery. And after she woke up, and my son Alex was staying next to her bed, and she said, "Alex, please bring me Sudoku." And he asked her, "Why you need Sudoku? You just came after this terrible, hard, difficult surgery." And she said, "I want to check if my mind is still clear." See? And everywhere, she went a lot with her health, bad health, but everywhere, everybody told her she is a very tough, like iron lady. Very tough, never complained about anything. Of course, she loved her children very much, her grandchildren, and she was blessed with 2 beautiful great-grandchildren. And thanks to Terry, she was able to see her great-granddaughter a week before she passed away. And she was very tired at the end of her life. She used to love to watch the program Dancing with the Stars. But the last Monday of her life, I called her. She always asked me to remind her. I called her. I said, Sophie, 8 o'clock is Dancing with the Stars. And she said, I am very tired. I don't have any strength to watch this program. And I understood, but she's not herself. Well, she is the only person in the whole world which has the same mixture of blood like myself, because we came from the same parents. I want to bless her and let her rest in peace.
Thank you for your beautiful, heartfelt words. I'd like to continue on a little bit with Sophia's life story. She married her beloved Ilya on August 5th, 1953. They met in high school. One day, Ilya was sliding down a railing and bumped into Sophia and knocked her over and ended up falling on top of her. She used to say the first time she met him, he swept her off her feet. Boris was born a year after their marriage, and then Olga 10 years later. Sophia continued to work after Boris was born and go to university in the evening. 6 years later, she became an engineer and was promoted, as we heard, to the regional railroad headquarters. It was very seldom that Jews got these positions. It was a fight, but Sophia did it. And if they had trouble resolving a problem there, they always turned to Sophia to fix it. Later in life, after Olga was born, Sophia got a master's degree in patents. Sophia's headquartered job opened the door for the family to attend theater in Odessa. They met influential people in theaters around the city, and everyone loved Sophia. Boris and Olga enjoyed this introduction to the cultural side of life. And Sophia continued to work until her retirement at the age of 55 in 1988. The very next year, she immigrated to the United States with 18 members of her family, 3 generations ranging in age from 5 to 78, to resettle here in Cleveland near her brother, Yefim. Sophia enjoyed attending the members' Havurah at Park Synagogue and studying Bible and Judaic studies with our wonderful teacher, Margulia German. Family was everything to Sophia. It was clear that she came to the United States for Boris and Olga and their families. Sophia helped with the children so the parents could get education and good jobs. This was instrumental in her children and grandchildren getting settled. Sophia was the consummate matriarch. She taught her family every second of their lives. Sophia gave this family a solid foundation and created wonderful relations with one another. She was the glue who kept everyone together and ensured that you would all remain close. Sophia was extremely close with her daughter-in-law, Sophia. The two of you shared a name and many of the same attributes. 13 years ago, when Ilya passed away, Sophia decided to move to New Jersey to be near Olga's family. Benjamin was young, and she wanted to help care for him, and felt it was important for him to grow up with a grandmother. Sophia always told her 3 grandchildren wonderful life stories. She was a fundamental part of all of their upbringings and shared an amazing relationship with them. Sophia was an extremely strong woman and could be very opinionated. Sophia chose the people around her wisely and selectively and was grateful for her close circle of friends. Sophia had a wonderful sense of humor. She enjoyed Danielle Steele novels and we heard could do a Sudoku like a professional. It kept her mind sharp to the very end. Sophia suffered many serious illnesses. She was very brave, and it was a full-time job to arrange her medical care and speak to doctors. Olga took wonderful care of her mother, managing her care, and if Olga couldn't be there, Alex and Benjamin would go to the hospital to care for their grandmother. Alex was by her side when she passed away. And so today is a time for tears. We are saddened by the loss of Sophia, but we learned much from her, especially how to care for one another. Let these tears serve to strengthen and uphold you as a family. There's a story in our tradition about a rabbi who once passed an old woman planting trees. Old woman, he called, "Why are you planting those trees? You'll never live to see them blossom." But the woman replied, "My ancestors planted trees, not for themselves but for us, that we might enjoy their shade and their fruit. I too do the same for all those who will come after me." Sophia planted an orchard for each one of us, an orchard filled with devotion and with love, and these will always be here for us. We must be grateful we are able to share in her life. Tomorrow there'll be fewer tears, more silence. As the Baal Shem Tov noted, it will be a time of pondering, a time of contemplation. Sophia will become a greater part of our characters and our beings as we integrate the memories and the values she taught us into our own selves. But finally, there'll come a time for song. The time will come when we can celebrate Sophia. We recall all that we learned from her and how she touched each of our lives. May she rest in peace. Zecher Tzadika Livracha. May the memory of Sophia Zaslavsky be a blessing. Amen. I now like to invite the grandchildren, Terry and Benjamin, and then Alex via phone will share some personal thoughts about their grandmother. Terry, do you want to come first?
I'm so lucky to have had 4 amazing parents. I could not have asked for greater love. Each one of them loved me unconditionally and contributed in their own unique way to the person I am today. I'm incredibly sad today to say goodbye to my last grandparent. Babushka Sofa was an amazingly strong person. She has been a role model to me throughout my entire life. She was able to balance a successful career, family life, and numerous and endless health issues better than anyone I know. In Odessa, Babushka Sofa worked at the railroader headquarters. It was a very respected job, and she knew how to network with her colleagues. I think that's where I got my networking skills. At home, she was raising 2 small children and helping Dedushka Iza with his professional and artistic endeavors. Some of my earliest memories with Babushka Sofa included going to the movies and to the theater near her apartment in Odessa, taking the train to Vinnytsia to visit our relatives, and spending our summers at our dacha by the sea. She loved telling me the story about bringing me to her work in a fancy dress and a kasinka. She was worried that my hair wasn't growing yet, and we were hiding my bald head from her coworkers. She could always find something to worry about. It was one of her strengths. Babushka Sofa was not the best cook. I also think I inherited that from her. But Dedushka Iza overcompensated in that department. He became exceptionally gourmet in his later years and loved ordering new cooking equipment from infomercials on TV. Grandma and Grandpa had an opportunity to visit me in Chicago several times. In college, they came to my graduation, which was a proud moment for them. And during one of their visits, I remember we went to Bubba Gump restaurant and had peel and eat shrimp. It was one of the most fun times we had together. Later on, Babushka Sofa came to visit us at our new house, which she loved. During the past several years, we spent a lot of time talking about my children, Ariel and Isabel. She loved seeing them and spending time with them, especially on the phone lately. She loved hearing about their tough personalities and big accomplishments. And she loved watching our dog Teddy over FaceTime. She also often inquired about Jeremy's and my entrepreneurial ventures. She worried about them enough for all of us. Her health issues we could write a book about. Nonetheless, she went about her life and was a fighter until the very end. Babushka Sofa was so looking forward to Ariel's bar mitzvah next May, and Alex and Ben's weddings someday. And while she will not be present in physical form, I'm certain that all 4 of my grandparents will be celebrating with us from up above.
Now, Benjamin.
I don't really have much to say, but Grandma has the kind of energy a family or community could revolve and be built around. Her presence brought out the best and kindest parts of those around her. From the ages of 8 to 16, my entire soccer team called Grandma Babushka and treated her like family. Language barriers and cultural differences were irrelevant. Grandma barely had to speak a word for her caring and nurturing nature to become apparent to all. I think that's what I'll remember the most about her. No matter what was going on in either of our lives, I always knew I had somewhere to go where I would be loved and cared for. I'll remember Grandma as the kind of person who always put her family above herself, as the kind of person who would feel guilty when she needed help. She taught me about unconditional love, being responsible for yourself, being strong, and being there for your family. I don't have anything else to say except that I love my grandma.
Thank you. Michael Kewen's going to share some words from Alex, third grandchild.
My grandma liked having been young and accepted becoming old. My grandma valued austerity and a nice day outside. My grandma loved hearing any of us play piano or watching us play soccer or dance or even smile. She felt joy easily at the joy of others. My grandma felt extra joy at the joy of family and food. She valued cake and dill and pastries and garlic and salmon and loved watching other people eat. She knew how to daughter more than one daughter. She loved being needed and worried over needing too much. She treated family as an adverb, like empathy. When she had little, like a candle or a tin box, she valued it. When she had more, she never forgot that she once had less. She was thus very rich. She loves family over anything else. She valued Isabel's boldness and Ariel's self-possession. It's Harry's drive and Sofa's thoughtfulness. She valued Fima's sense of history and Zhenya's grace. She loved my mom's optimism and my uncle's sensitivity, and had total faith in my brother's future, and trusted me to mine. She loved selectively, but showed her love freely. She gave advice insistently, convinced, over all objection, that it was valuable. I learned from her to expect things to end, to feel pain quietly, to be generous in moderation, to prioritize. I learned from her that relationships must be held together with tape and glue if necessary. These are my grandmother's values. Have a piano at home. Do favors, appreciate kindness. Appreciate appreciation. Always expect a little bit of madness. Try to comfort those who need you. Accept anything given with love. Think your KGBiste, your KGB friends. I learned from her that joy dulls pain, and to bear discomfort for the sake of a good conversation. In the end, she taught me to stand with grace and to die with dignity.
Thank you all for your beautiful words. Let's pause for a moment of silence as we each remember her in our own hearts. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey, a going, a growing from stage to stage, from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness and often back again, from health to sickness and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, and grief to understanding, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination. But life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage made stage by stage to life everlasting. Amen. Please rise now, if you're able, for El Malei Rachamim.
Hey, Malei Rachamim, Shochein Bamerohim, Hametzei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanefei Ashchina, B'mahalot Kedoshchem Odgorim, Kezogar Garakia Mazgerim, Et Nishmat, Sose bat Moishe v'Bunya, Shechalecha le'olam. Began Adanatechai Menuchata, Anabava le'varachamim, Astirega b'seter knafecha le'olamim, V'titzuror b'tzuror ha'chaim et nishmata, Adonai honachalata, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen.
Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to our beloved Sophie Zaslavsky, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace, and let us all say,
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated for just a few moments. This concludes our service here. We'll proceed from here to Beit Olam Cemetery for burial.